2024. It's approximately 3:05. We have all commissioners present, and we have our city manager, Charles Rudd, and we have our city clerk, Karen Hayes. And with that, if you, Commissioner Banks, want to give us an invocation, please stand if you're able.
Father, once again, we come before you to give you thanks and to lift up your name. Father, we just thank you for our health and our strength. Thank you for each commission and the family. God, continue to bless our community. We ask this in your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Charles, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. So today, we're going to, as you all know, we've had an RFP out for quite some time, for years, for the old, what we call Market Square property. And you all know better than I do how long that's been vacant, and the buildings were gradually demolished, and so now we have the land. So we have a response to our RFP. These gentlemen that are here today that saw the RFP and wrote up a proposal, and we thought it best to present it to you in a workshop format, so we don't have other items to get to, and we can spend the time to answer your questions as you think of them. The context for this, really, for me, is we've been looking for a partner to help us develop this land, someone who's willing to invest in our community and hopefully make money in our community and bring value. I reached out to property appraiser. They estimated this project could bring as much as $6 million to our valuation, which translates into potential millage rate reduction. So helps carry the burden for our community to lower our tax rate. So there are a lot of benefits in addition to the ongoing tax revenue we get going forward. So the guys are going to present the proposal to you. There's a lot of components to it. It'll be a plan development. We'll have to negotiate the aspects they're going to talk to you about today, but we want to show you what it looks like, get you excited possibly about the project and get to know them and the work that they've done in the past, what they're capable of. So Ricardo, are you going to be leading us off? Ricardo's going to start us off, and we have a couple things for you today.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure. I appreciate, Charles, thank you for setting this up. We're looking forward to working with you guys in any which way we can in order to make this possible. Go ahead, just grab that.
Yeah, the clicker there.
So we'll get a little started really quick. I will explain who I am in a little bit more detail once we get to that part of it. I don't want you guys to think I'm just kind of coming in here and be like, boom, boom, boom. Also, keep in mind, I'm in the military, so I don't like death by PowerPoint. So didn't want to bore everybody. I'm going to be speaking more than just reading. And I think that's a better way to do it. You can read this, when you feel like you have more time to go in there, dissect a little bit more. And if you have any other questions after that, we'll be available to answer any other questions, even after this meeting is adjourned and things of that nature. We'll be more than happy and coordinate that with you guys. Part of the agenda, so some of the stuff that I have on here, obviously we're going to do a little introduction, tell you a little bit about our team members, the partners that we have, the project description, show you the unit floor plans, a few renderings, and the development request, the timeline, and of course, timeline is kind of up in the air. We know we have to work with the city to be able to, get on the right page and promote things together. The other thing too, we do have a live video shoot of what it's projected to look like. So we also kept it with the streetscape that you guys have in plan in your master plan as well. So all those components we wanted to keep in with what you guys are planning on doing as well. Bluestone Developers. We've been in business since 2001, and I'm the founder and the owner of the company. I'm a former state representative that represents Kissimmee, Osceola County at the state level, no longer elected. As I mentioned before, I am a military member, been doing 16 years as a financial senior analysis. For me, that is a wonderful job. So I get the fun job of always going out when the hurricanes get here and helping all the soldiers and people find homes, placements, making sure everybody has food to eat, things of that nature. It's something I take pride in. All in together, our members have a total of a combined 55 years of experience within real estate development. One of the biggest things that I like to take pride on is public-private partnerships, creating opportunities, whether it's affordable housing, regular private development, like this would be here, just partnering with the cities, partnering with the counties, states, in order to bring the best opportunity. Because one of the biggest things for me is my father was military as well for 22 years. So I have grown up all over the US. So when people ask me, where are you from? I said the US. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint, but Florida has been my home for the last 20 years. So this has been, I know I look young, but I'm pushing 50. So, so one of the good things about this is that every place that I have been with, not only with my father, but myself, on different military missions, I have felt what it is to be in an urban situation or a rural situation, things of that nature. So I take every component of that into whatever I develop. And I love to try to keep everything with the right synergy and the correct synergy of what is around that area. Myself, I kind of gave you guys a little bit of explanation. I'm the CEO. Over 12 years of experience, military veteran, and again, I have worked on many projects. As far as one of the biggest projects that I completed was 23 acres of land down in Kissimmee. It's currently being built right now, but that project we had basically worked with another company who was like the main developer of the project, but I was the main consultant on the project that was able to get it pulled through. So it was a total of like 1,500 new units. So it was a lot bigger, much larger project. And trust me, it was a pain in the butt trying to figure out how to get a lot of investors involved in that one, because that was pretty big. But that project in itself also brought in a lot of needed residential units to downtown, because that was one of the biggest things that was happening downtown is, believe it or not, downtown Kissimmee looked just like this a few years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's starting to grow, but the businesses were hurting. There was not enough people that lived in the area close by to be able to go down, grab a bite to eat. So I literally, within the last 5 years even, have seen a lot of businesses, the same retail locations just fall through, constant turnover and so on and so forth. Eric Puma, who's my CFO, he has experience in real estate commercial development as well. He's been mostly working out of the Northeast in New Jersey and the Northeast, well, part of that Northeast section of the US. So he has been a great resource to help me, with anything dealing with financial situations. He helps me bring in capital, works with investors and different loan opportunities as well. Concept Design Build is a company that we partnered with. They bring together, the reason I like to work with them is because they bring a wealth of knowledge. Not only do they do the architectural design, engineering, but they also have a general contractor's license. So I don't like to have like 50 million people that I have to go to. It's easier and best to just go to one person and say, okay, what's going on? Let's fix this, let's get it going. So that's what I use, Concept Design Build. And they're based out of Orlando area as well. IAG Investments is a big group that I've worked with. As a matter of fact, I have my real estate license, and the owner of this company used to be my real estate broker. And so we worked a lot together in different projects, mostly commercial. And so he brings a whole lot of different types of investors into the community as well. So he'll be able to help bring us, anything, worst case scenario, should we need any big investors to come in and help us with the loan process, he'll be able to come in, fill in the gaps kind of thing. And he's a big consultant too. So he'll be able to help me, along the way and say, hey, look, this is going to be a good idea. Let's make this happen. The community will like it, so on and so forth. Crebo Architects is a young architectural firm. They're based out of Colombia. What I like about them is they are very conscious more of the bioclimatic changes to the architecture. So they're the ones that actually help put together these renderings, and they design them and they place them in the best way possible to create natural airflow, take away a lot of the sun that's directly hitting certain parts of it so that it doesn't get overheated in certain areas over others. So that's one of the great things that I like about them. The good thing and the advantages of our team is that a lot of them are on board with me. We can get started right away. So it's not going to be a case where they're going to be like, okay, you got to pay me $500,000 first to be able to move forward. They're going to be able to work with us right away as soon as we sit down, come to an agreement, come to a deal, put the ideas together. It's just a matter of me just giving them a call, saying, okay, let's make this happen, and we start getting to work right away. So that's a huge advantage, because a lot of times, a lot of folks have to wait and get all that process going. Like I said, we have a lot of extensive experience in the field, can turn the work around in a very short time period, especially Crebo Architects. They're extremely quick in getting all their designs up and ready. I mean, I've had them literally turn work into me within a week. So they're very on it, and they're hungry. They want to work, they want to get things done. Concept Design has great project managers on their roles. So they would be able to help us quickly, making sure that we're managing the budgets properly, making sure that the project is on time, so that there's no backups, there's no extensive long periods of time where we're like, okay, what's going on, what happened? We want to make sure once we get the project from beginning to end is completed on the time schedule we set out for it. And as I mentioned, we have a group with IAG. We have a great opportunity with investors, with Eric Puma, our CFO. We have another aspect of investors, investor pool that he works with as well. As I mentioned, the project description, we were here when you guys were doing the festival, Catfish Festival. That was a great experience. Got to see so many people out here. I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. So with that said, I took a lot of pictures, and I wanted to bring something together that was going to complement, not take away from what you guys had in this community. Again, living in rural Pennsylvania, when I was young, just seeing how the architecture is over there, living in Kissimmee prior to what it is now, I also had that same, old school, small town feeling kind of thing. So we wanted to make sure we kept it simple, but nice looking as well. So there's approximately, and again, there's going to be some, takeaway, additions or subtractions out of this, but roughly about 79,000 square feet of total opportunity that we have on the frontage of Central Ave and across Summit as well. So the characteristics of this total apartments is going to be, and again, like I said, we're still playing with some of these numbers. And once, we come to an actual agreement with you guys, we'll come to a more definite answer, but roughly between 35 to 45 units. It's going to be a mixture of 2 bedrooms and 1 bedrooms. So the 2 bedrooms are going to be about 1,008 square feet, and then the 1 bedrooms are going to be roughly about 800 square feet. There's also 6 retail units on the first floor. So this will be an actual mixed-use facility. Excuse me. So each one of those units will be about 1,200 square feet, 12 to 1,400 square feet, give or take a few. Now, one of the biggest things that I did notice is obviously if we're bringing in people are not going to want to drive many blue moons or, 20 minutes, 15 minutes away to go and, pick up some quick snacks or, toiletries. So we figured I have a good opportunity with a gentleman that I've been working with. I actually helped him already get a supermarket down in Orlando, central Orlando area. And when I mentioned to him that I would love for him to be a part of this opportunity, he agreed, and he is ready to move into Crescent City as well. So we kind of carved out roughly about 2,500 square feet where they could be like a little mini mart. People don't have to go, Walmart, Publix, whatever the case may be. They could just go downstairs, pick up some snacks, pick up some food, whatever the case may be. And again, toiletries, things of that nature. Roughly parking spaces, we're looking at about 105 parking spaces. So about 2.3 parking spots per unit. Here's kind of a simple design. The 2-bedroom units will be about 36 feet wide, 28 feet long. Again, about 1,000 square feet. We're estimating between 16 to 20 units of 2 bedrooms. And then you got the 1-bedroom units that's about 31 feet long, 26 feet deep, 800 square feet, roughly between 18 to 25 units of the 1-bedrooms. So as I mentioned, total units, roughly about minimum 34 units, maximum about 45 units.
Now, are these condos or are they apartments?
These will be condos. So the idea is to have ownership, people that will come in, take a little more pride in what they're purchasing. So that way there's not a heavy turnover rate. People just come in, whether they're snowbirds, whether they're folks that want to live in the area, the whole year round. But we feel that ownership would be the best option at this point. This is the front elevation. So this is what it would look like across Central Avenue. As you can see, we have the trees and the streetscape that you're looking for. We have the little brick road that extends from the street curbside to, I believe we estimated roughly about 3 feet of the streetscape. And then we put about a tree kind of like just about almost like every so many feet, so that it gives it that nice appeal where people are just walking through and it feels nice. In the back, on the bottom left, you will see like a back picnic area. So if there's a restaurant in the back, if there's a restaurant, one of the retail space, they have space in the back that people can go out and sit out. They want to enjoy the sun. They want to enjoy their time. They don't want to feel like they're cooped up in a restaurant. Gives it more of a natural feeling. I think that would be a very nice opportunity as well. We also have another little area that folks that are in the, residents would like to go downstairs, have a nice little picnic, whatever the case may be. Now, I know right here on the left-hand side, again, the bottom left, it shows a little bit of a brick flooring, but in reality, that should be green space. So we would actually put in a nice little green space so people could feel that kind of home feeling. And then on the bottom right-hand side, you're gonna see, the 3D rendering of the corner of Summit and Central Avenue. So that would be right on that corner. Every other red brick area would have like an awning, just to kind of give it that home feeling again. We would, the idea is to have like the actual entrances going through underneath those awnings so that, worst case scenario, it rains or whatever the case may be. But we also wanted to let you know that we also included some space where people could actually put some tables out, some chairs, on the front part of it as well. That's why you also see the concrete there after you see the red brick, on the sidewalk. So that gives the people an option to be able to do so as well. So this kind of gives it a little bit more of the sky view, like a bird's eye view. One of the things that I loved and my inspiration for this was when I saw how awesome you guys had a festival, nice little parades, I figured why not have the opportunity for residents to be able to just go up to their rooftop, look overhead, and watch the parade from their own home, without any obstructions or having to worry about going down. Now, obviously, after the parade goes through, they could go down, go to the little parade field and enjoy, the swamp cabbage and all that other good stuff you guys had over there. And again, it shows also, now the idea is not to have the whole thing. I know right there we had it that way, but for security and for safety purposes, we won't have that whole thing. The whole rooftop will not be accessible to folks. It would probably just be on the left-hand side where you guys had your parade, so right off of Summit Avenue would probably be the ideal spot where we would make sure that people could go up there. And there would be a nice little, kind of like a rooftop bar where people can order some appetizers, drinks, things of that nature as well. I know that there are some important aspects to this part of it, and that's why I wanted to make sure I pointed it out. The two trees that you see there are the two oak trees that you guys have that are over, I believe it's 150 years. Yeah. As soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, we got to make sure we preserve that. That's something that's very important and dear to my heart. And I know that Mr. Charles also kind of make sure he told me the same thing, and he says those are beautiful things that we don't want to let go. And I says, absolutely, we will work with it and see how we can make it happen. So roughly on the right-hand side, you're going to see kind of like how high the building would be. It says 52 feet high, but that's because of the stairwell that has to go up there so people can get on the roof. But technically, the rooftop is right at 40 feet. But we can work with whatever the city has in order to make it happen to whatever we need to make it at. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, may I ask a question? Okay, and if you want me to hold questions like this till the end, I won't ask any more. So is this building, is it all stairwells, or do you contemplate having any elevator?
That we're still kind of up in the air on. We're still running a lot of the numbers and a lot of the different things that we had to make sure to be able to do so. That's actually one of the biggest things my financial officer, Eric, had told me about. He would like to see an elevator on there as well. I would too, just to make it a little bit easier accessible for folks to be able to go in there. Also, it's not easy, trust me, I know, not easy carrying furniture from the bottom floor to the third floor, second floor. All that stuff is pretty big. But of course, everything also depends on costs that are associated with it. But we would make sure to have the idea of having an elevator. So we are leaning towards that way, yes.
Okay.
At this moment, the actual rendering does not dictate that at the moment.
Okay, and I have a lot more questions, but I think I'd rather just hear you tell your story. Very good story. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so possible issues that we have identified and I've already kind of expressed earlier to Charles is the parking requirement for the city, it's a little bit high. So we would like to definitely be able to work with the city and see if we could come up with a happy medium or something that would work for everybody. 2.35 parking spots, it's a little high. We want to make sure we keep those, the oak trees, the stormwater management, and gifting the land. So as far as the parking requirement, like I said, it's a little bit high. We have to consider the fact that we have to still put the parking in. we still have to worry about saving the trees, and we have to figure out stormwater. So those are some of the big issues that we face of trying to make all that happen. And that's where I'm gonna need the city's help to be able to sit down and say, okay, how do we make this happen? So one of the suggestions was about reducing it to about 1.84 parking spots per unit. And again, this is just preliminary. Of course, this is just a learning tool and just kind of throwing that out there. As far as the stormwater, we want to see what other options there may be, see if there's something that we can take it off site. Because I can tell you, just trying to save those trees and then on two acres of land, trying to figure out where to put a pond is not going to be a very happy, feasible thing. Yep. So, and we want to look into possibly even having the land gifted as well, because we want to make sure we produce a product that's going to make everything work for everyone. We want to be able to use the equity of that parcel to be able to secure the loans without having to go into investors, because once the investors get involved, the only thing investors care about is their bottom dollar. And that's where I'm a little different from a lot of folks. So the other thing is, and one of the things, for example, myself and my partner here, Eric, is that we kind of fell in love with the area. We want to see it happen. And worst case scenario, I know a lot of people, and this may sound a little bit of cliche or not, but I've had very long, extensive conversations with Charles, and my objective is not to make $1 million off of this. My objective is to come in and build a product that's going to be beautiful, that you guys will be happy with, we will be happy with, and the community will be happy with. Even if we would have to sacrifice a little bit of what we make on the deal, we're willing to accept that too. So at this time, I would like to show you guys, let me go through the timeline. So from month 0 to 6 is basically preliminary. We're looking to work with the city, finalizing any details that we may have to finalize. Again, these are just rough estimate numbers. We would definitely, if it takes longer, it takes longer. If it takes shorter, it takes shorter, but these are just guesstimates. So basically sign any development agreement in order to make this happen, and then start working with the architects to start the process of getting everything done, the engineers, things of that nature. Then you got phase 2, which is months 7 through 12. Get the full architectural, engineering, construction documents, surveys, everything that we need done to pull permits. Work with the city throughout the whole design process, making sure we're meeting all the requirements possible, so that there's no hiccups, there's no trouble, and it's a smooth transition in. And then of course, getting the permits and the entitlements completed so that we can start, putting the shovels in the ground. Phase 3, which is probably roughly about months 13 to 41, is the construction phase. We've already have a pre-approval for $20 million to put this thing together. So we would be working hard to keep that. During this time frame also, we will start a good heavy marketing plan to start promoting and doing pre-sales of the condos that we have. So that way, before the construction is over, my hope is to have basically everything sold out. I mentioned this already. I already have a person who's interested in coming in and putting the mini mart. But my main concern is making sure that we present this opportunity for the retail space for folks that are here locally. We want to be able to promote new local businesses as well, not bring in folks from out of town, from out of the city, and be like coming in and sweep up all the good spots, and then everybody gets left with not being able to start their own business. So we want to make sure we keep that in heart as well, because my objective is to grow local business, not outside business. Phase 4, so months 41 to 45, like I said, our goal is to hopefully be completed and sold out on all the condos, have all the retail space leased out, have local business owners, just mentioned that as well. So basically have local business owners lease up the property and not bring in people from outside. Obviously, if I can find somebody who is interested in doing something locally, who wants to do a little mini mart, I'm all for that as well. But just to let you know, we do have somebody ready and available and willing to do so, to come in and take that opportunity as well. How do I put the,
Oh, there's one more slide.
yeah, that's the goodbye. So at this moment, we're gonna have you guys take it's a quick, 20, 30-second video of what it would look like, kind of 3D rendering walkthrough.
Ready? Oops. That's the seating area for restaurants.
Very fast one.
That represents the big oak tree.
And this is the part where we say we're not gonna have like the whole rooftop. I mean, that'll be a little bit more difficult, but
But you have mechanical too, so.
Yeah.
I like the tree branch going through the wall.
This, you actually see a potential phase 2 next door to the block. The focus is this phase 1.
I have a dumb question about Central Avenue and the parking spaces are there. This has really nothing to do with anything, but can we really fit that many parking spaces on Central Avenue, or is that just a drawing? It looks like
it's a preliminary drawing, just a quick rendering, just to kind of give you a visual. Once we have everything set, organized with the proper
I can go down there
dimensions.
and count them later, but it just, I'm like, that looks like a few more. It looks nice, it's beautiful.
I'll run it again.
I like all the signs being the same.
So there'll be like a little leasing office downstairs and
Is there a pool?
Kind of like a
Yeah,
reception
cool.
area.
You know, it's nice.
no pool.
No pool?
No.
Really?
Pool's expensive.
Liability.
Yeah, a lot more insurance.
That's likely to be pervious parking areas.
I think they're very nice drawings. I got the idea, I mean, the video just reinforces, but you could clearly see that that is what is contemplated.
Now, this is just between Summit and
Prospect.
Park
Prospect.
It's,
Suspect.
yeah, it's-
and Prospect, I'm sorry, Prospect. Okay, because I mean, this looks really big, so I'm just, I wanna make sure.
That second block is
Yeah.
hypothetical future.
Yeah.
So, the last slide just had my contact information and saying thank you for the opportunity of speaking. And at this time, I'll be more than happy to answer any other questions that you guys may have.
Okay, I'm sure we're going to have some questions. Thank you for the presentation. It was a great presentation. Thank you for your interest in Crescent City
Thank you.
and your willingness to invest in our community. That's first and foremost. With that, Commissioners, I'm going to open it up. There's some questions. This is your opportunity.
I did.
Okay, go ahead.
So, hi, thank you very much. I think your imagination is
The vision.
creative. Yeah, I think there's a lot of vision and imagination. In addition to having done some research, I do note that the development package includes, you would not be paying us for the land, you want to give them the land.
Correct. That would be a quick,
I get that part. Okay, so hold on. It would be, well, I'll just take it from the top. When you were speaking, you said your experience, I thought I heard you say, is since 2001, but the materials say 2021.
Correct. Yeah, it said 2021.
Okay, I thought you said 2001, but maybe I misheard, or I don't know.
No,
I never know what decade I'm in these days, after enough time goes by. Okay, so it is 2021.
Correct.
And so wait, what is your military role right now?
I'm a senior financial analysis for the Florida National Guard.
Okay, so you're not in any way active duty, but you could be called up?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so it's National Guard. And so you're envisioning the overall cost of the project currently would be approximately 20 million?
No, we wanted to make sure we got a little bit more just in case, contingencies, things of that nature. But roughly, until we can get actually all the right numbers into the program, basically it could be anywhere between 10 to 15. So it really kind of depends.
Okay, so you're saying
Okay.
a little bit less. I just wanted to know what your financial ballpark was. And again, this is one of the most complete concepts we've seen around here in a while, and a very nice one. I was curious when you said the size of the units and being condos. So I guess my question is, do you have market research that shows who would want condos, of that size? I mean, where would you be marketing this, and do you have market research that tells you who your target market is?
Correct. I did do some research. We also know that there is, I believe there's pretty much like 1.5 people per household in this area. So it shows me that having a 3 or 4 bedroom condo would probably be a little far-fetched. So we figured, why not bring in younger folks? Why not bring in folks that already live here? Older folks that are looking to maybe have another second, home, things of that nature, snowbirds, just a lot of different aspects of it. Maybe folks that are not, they're already older, maybe a little 55 plus, don't have kids anymore. They'll fit perfectly in a 1 bedroom, and if they wanted to do a 2 bedroom. So that's kind of what drove me to keep it 1 to 2 bedrooms. Again, this is just a preliminary concept. We can definitely make them bigger, we can make them smaller, it really depends. So we would definitely like to work with you guys on who knows your city better than you guys, right? I'd love to sit down and just kind of pick your brains on that part as well.
Right, because my concern here, and the mayor touched on part of that, is it's not the number of bedrooms that I kind of question, it's the size of the units, because for this area, that seems pretty small. And as well, just a couple of things, and this is where I think target marketing, really knowing who your market would be, and of course, I don't know about the rest of the commissioners, but personally, I think our area we have lost the upper income levels that we used to have. We're heavily weighted toward people who have a lot of, public housing and subsidized housing here. And we've kind of lost, some of the more formerly residents who were more prosperous. But anyway, people who are going to be a snowbird or whatnot and have a very small condo, usually you have some kind of a central recreation area. You have a pool or a weight room, or you have some kind of amenities. So to me, that who is the target market, that I think is important. And also, did you have a price range in mind for the sale of the condos?
Sure, I will answer that. Do you mind pulling up the PowerPoint?
And then another question that I have, besides just what do you say as the price range? If this is condos, then someone has to manage it. And if you're gonna have snowbirds, I don't know, just I would be very curious to know what kind of managing entity there would be.
You would probably turn that over to, and you would have a condo management or HOA.
Correct, yes.
Right, but I mean, you have to charge for that
There's
goes in.
gonna be condo fees, there's gonna be condo.
Which screen do you
Has to be insurance.
The one that you could
That's all
see
things
over
that-
that bird's eye view.
Maintenance.
But I mean, particularly if you have snowbirds, you have to have a stronger, professional management.
Well, they'll be able to, that's what they do.
Oh, never mind.
And by Florida law, that'll be required anyway, based on the units that they have.
Correct. So on the right-hand side of the U shape, you will see on the first floor, there's not gonna be retail space. We're gonna have, and I thought about that, amenities. We're gonna have a little weight room, we're gonna have a little place for people to go down. It's not just gonna be, you're purchasing a condo and that's it. Like, not many people are gonna sit there and say, okay, I'm gonna pay an HOA fee when I have nothing else. People are not gonna be interested in something like that. We'll possibly have like a little event room where people can just gather, have fun, possibly a little computer room, just little simple things.
So that would be your common area.
Correct, on the right-hand side, yes. Because we figured, and that was the great opportunity, and I appreciate Charles inviting us to the Catfish Festival, is that when I did see that, and I saw everything that was going on, I saw a whole bunch of people on Summit, but I didn't really see that many people on Prospect. So I said, okay, so that's why I figured, and I told my architects, when you're doing the amenities, you do the amenities on the right-hand side, and we keep the little supermarket on the left-hand side. So if somebody's walking by, they can run in real quick, grab a drink, grab some snacks, whatever, and head to the festival, do whatever they need to do. Some ice cream, because it was a hot day, whatever the case may be. So that's the reason we kind of envision it that way. But of course, these are just preliminary concepts. I'll be more than happy to, sit down and listen to, maybe you guys have another idea that could suggest, hey, we're gonna have a bingo hall, or hey, we're gonna do a fun pizza night hall or something like that, whatever the case might be, to create nice amenities for the community.
And the ballpark, the idea of price per unit, do you have just a general idea?
Well, right now, I would hate to give you a figure without having the proper information, right? Like, so this is a preliminary thought.
Sure.
Of course, with that comes with, we have to consider, okay, well, how many units we're gonna totally be able to build? How many total square footage? Because as you said, if we decide that we have to do a little bit bigger of a unit, then that's gonna cut down on how many units we're gonna be able to put on there as well. And also what's gonna determine a lot of it is, there's a lot of parking that we have to put in there. As you see, that parking space is literally what we have to do if it stays at 2.35 parking spots per unit. So it's kind of huge. So you're covering basically the whole parcel of land, which is parking. So there's, like I said, and then now that I also mentioned it, the rooftop, since we're only gonna have it on the left-hand side, that'll probably cut down a lot of the cost because we don't have to put on, there's certain fixtures that you would have to put up there in order to be able to have the rooftop. You also have to have a different type of flooring so people can walk up there, things of that nature. So that'll cut some of that cost down as well. So I don't want to give you a price and then have you expect me to honor that price at this moment.
No, I wouldn't, I'm just saying, I have no clue what these kind of condos are going for. Do you have, I mean, any, just a range of like, they couldn't be less than, but they might be as much up? I mean, I don't think you could possibly give us a firm figure. I just don't know what range you're talking about.
Correct.
And if you don't know what range, well, then I guess, you know, that's an answer.
Right, because the other thing I would like to research too, is the aspect of what else you're gonna have inside the unit as well. You know, because it all depends on the type of countertops, depends on the type of cabinets.
And you're a year out at least, if not longer, so possibly
Right, so,
longer. So as far as costing supplies, so you haven't been able to cost all that out yet.
correct, yes.
And in working with them, I've been encouraging them fewer larger units, which might help address parking as well. I know my experience when I lived in an apartment in Maitland, I had a 2-bedroom unit, and those apartments they were kind of in the 1,400 to 1,500 square feet range. The 1-bedroom units were 800 to 1,000, which they were right in there. But the 2-bedroom unit I lived in was bigger than what they're proposing. So, also with the parking, one of the things we're gonna have Mark look at is the retail essentially is a day use, and then the condos would be a night use, so maybe there's a way to overlap those requirements to reduce the total amount of parking on site.
Yes.
If I could, I was thinking along the lines of bigger units might be more beneficial and might be a different target market. At first, I thought, if those are apartments, that's an awful lot of people in very small apartments downtown. So to me, in a way, you know, if you're gonna have a snowbird, I think there's gonna be a certain base price for a condo and maybe, to reduce congestion and those kind of issues, and shoot for a little bit different market. The larger unit, I think, has some merit.
We also have to be aware of not driving down the median price of a home comparables in our market.
Right.
Just kind of shooting ourselves in the foot.
Well, but then, so the whole issue, I mean, if you have snowbirds, I did wonder, you mentioned, you know, traditionally, people are home at night. If you're a snowbird, I don't know, can't you kind of be home all day? Or, you know,
You're not going to work.
You can if you work for your.
But you're gone half the year, yeah.
If you work from home.
or if you work from home. So that's a wrinkle, but that's, and I'm sorry, Mary, you were trying to say something.
No, that's okay. I have recently, I've had a lot of experience with apartments and condos. And moving, I have a daughter who's in construction, and so we've moved. And we just recently did that, and we moved into, she just, with a condo, out of an apartment. The apartment was a 2-bedroom that she just moved out of. Very, very roomy. It was probably about 1,100 square feet.
I was gonna say.
The condo is 1,200 square feet, the 2-bedroom, and it's ample size for, but it's how you design them. And I think in going into all of these, you see that it's how they've been able to design these to make it as efficient as possible. But she's also lived in a 600 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment that had ample room for all of us there. So it just depends on how you design them and how efficient you are with your space. The one thing I did notice though is, and I know this has been something that has always been in looking for these type of living, is you have no outdoor, you have no patio, you have no patio, no balcony. I could see balconies out the front If you go to downtown DeLand, you'll see a lot of that above, has a balcony. We were in Tallahassee and they have a lot of those, some of those
We
have
do allow
balconies.
intrusion into the right of way. So we encourage verandas
Yeah. And
being
so
over the sidewalk.
I see that, and I know that if you also offer that outdoor living space, like with a patio, with the patio,
It feels bigger.
it feels bigger, it gives you that outdoor living, so I did notice that is missing, and which is, but again, this is your condos, these are your condos, it's just the things that when you market these, what would people really be looking for? And I know if I was looking for one, and we have, that's something that we always look for, is, some sort of a patio, some sort of an outdoor feature where you have that.
Correct. No, I totally agree, actually, because I literally spend a good portion of my time on my patio. So, and I can definitely, and I sit out there with my dog, and he loves it too. And I just open up the door to the patio. He'll go out there without me and just hang out. So, but I did not think of having patios on the front side, which it
Just
would
in
make,
the
it
small
would make
balconies,
sense.
small balconies where people could stand out there and have a cup of coffee, you put just a little, one of the little tables.
They can watch the
What are
sunrise.
those little tables called?
Bistro
The bistro table and drink your coffee and
Watch the
watch-
sunrise.
watch the sunrise, the sunset, or the trucks drive by, or.
Little space, really, which is nice.
Yes.
Under your site plan that you show that the lower, we obviously have those two other properties. There's that small apartment building and then the chiropractor's house. But we own that southeast corner. Yeah, and you have a white building there. What is that?
That originally is like it was gonna be a thought of possibly doing like a second part of it. But, so basically, it's like a continuation of the same condo spot.
Okay.
But 100% residential.
100% residential, there's no retail on the bottom floor or anything like that. But I wanna look into the fact of actually trying to purchase the left-hand side of it.
Right.
To kind of take out, and who knows, even the chiropractor area, if there's a way we just kind of purchase those two areas, that would be huge, and that would kind of give us a lot more flexibility as well.
I always thought that was a challenge on this. You have these two notches that you have to work around.
Right.
And I mean, it just makes it a lot more difficult.
Yeah,
Make something work. The other thing is you are on the west side, which is Summit, you have on-street parking, which that I don't think we're gonna be able to do because of DOT.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that we're not counting on that, because.
And just for the record, we're not encouraging you to buy the chiropractor's office. I don't want anybody to think that, I don't think that he's, that's something but that's not something that we are encouraging
of course.
to get involved in that at all. I just want to make sure we clarify that.
Yeah, if I could follow up on the idea, if I'm not mistaken, I think the two-story chiropractor's office and home is also a contributing structure to our historic district. So, isn't that right, BJ?
I'm not sure.
I don't think it ever had
I think it may be. I would
No,
have to look at it.
I don't,
There's also,
I don't
on
see
each
that.
one of those, there's another heritage tree on each of those private parcels. It's one's right at the road, the one in the south. It's very close to the right of way, so, but in the chiropractor office, at the back of the house, where the property meets the city property,
Oh,
there's
yeah,
a heritage.
one right there, yeah.
Well, I mean,
But that-
sorry.
But anyway, I think that that's a discussion you can take up with the property owners.
yeah, that's not,
Correct.
that's not
And
with
really,
us.
that's not a discussion that we
Yeah.
need to
I
discuss.
don't want that out there yet.
So, Mayor, there's one other item, I want to talk about stormwater a little bit, as a way to help. The idea of getting the water off-site, one of the things I thought about was, as you enter Harvey Neal Nelson, right on the right-hand side where we used to have a public works building, we tore it down.
Yeah.
That corner, almost, you could create a crescent moon shaped to dodge the tree that's there, stormwater pond, and allow this some from this property to be piped
into that.
through the right of way we have through Cypress into there as a way to alleviate, because St. John's is gonna determine what those calculations. That's one of the reasons we're having the survey done. So we know how much, because we get some credit for the impervious that's there. So we'll find out, like, okay, here's how much you gotta do, and so then we'll know, oh, we've gotta make a pond of X volume. Where can we put that? Because if we put it on this site, then it impacts the parking requirements that we have. So it's a kind of a catch-22. So that's something I want you to contemplate, would be, okay, we can make it an amenity pond where it's got a fountain in it or something, where it's actually a benefit to that park and so forth.
You actually have options too, is putting the culvert pipes that are underneath. You put them under the ground and it stores the water and then it perks in the ground. I mean, that is an option, they do that all over.
We do have underground storage at Marjorie Hill Nelson as well.
But ain't we got something right there that we had to go up under the school, or not under the school, but
There's sewer line there.
We have a sewer line.
drainage,
Yeah, sewer line.
drainage.
And there's a storm drain right there at the corner of
Right.
Cypress and Prospect.
Right.
So you might be able to tie into that to be able to.
Well, we probably have to catch it.
Yeah.
because you have to catch
You know, to me, I got a
There's options.
friend that lived in Crescent City, still do got properties in Crescent City. And I had the opportunity to be invited over there to his condo. Man, I love it. If I would have built a home here, I might be thinking about going on and staying.
I know, the same way with hers, when I left there, I was like, oh, I really like this, I can get used to
Stay on
this.
the home. I hope he'd invite me again.
I have a question for Commissioner Banks. So Commissioner Banks, this is my question for you, and the mayor's all painted up again, I see your hands.
Yeah, I'm still painting.
I think maybe less cleaning, Mayor, but anyway, Commissioner Banks, the condo that you visited, ballpark, what was the size of that unit, do you think?
You know, I was so happy to get roomy.
It was-
And it's right, if you come out on the patio part of it, I call it the front porch.
Okay, so it had a patio.
Yeah, the ocean is there,
Well, that helps a lot.
yeah.
It makes it, yeah.
That,
Well, that's why you wanted to move there. You got the whole, yeah, absolutely.
I enjoyed myself.
so, Mayor, I did have one other question about the amenities that are planned. The mayor was asking about the patio, and that made me think all of a sudden, storage space.
I was just thinking that, storage,
Most condos
where's your storage space?
have a cage, and, you know, people here like to fish, and maybe there might be a kayak, a bike. I mean, you know, it's like an outdoor recreation, so, I don't know.
The place where she just bought it has, it's really neat. It has a separate, when you come up, and it has just a separate area, 2 places that she's been in, they've had that separate, where it's right kind of across from the living space. And that's been nice, that lot. This last one though, this is really neat, is it's on a lake, and they have, for kayaks, they have a place where you can store it, lock it up right there, and pull them out as needed. That's something too, because a lot of those you can't even get into a storage, because your storage, usually a storage closet is, you know, it's either a 4x8 or a 5x8, but it's not very big, and so it's tough to get one of those in there. But I was thinking the same thing, that if you have the storage in there, include it in there, because that's gonna be necessary, especially with some of your empty nesters. And we do have a storage warehouse, what do they call it?
Mini storage.
Mini storage
Public storage.
outside of town, but it's limited, and we only have one, here. We've got one over in Fruitland, but we only have one here, so that's a big issue for people moving here. I know for some of us that's stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't want to do that.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
About parking, so the 2.34, I just looked at, that's for multifamily, meaning 2 spots, and then 1 spot for visitors per every 3. Is that when we're getting the 2.34 requirement?
Right, that's what I was looking at.
Okay. So we talk about that, that's the residential, but we haven't we're not even considering the commercial uses, right?
You didn't factor in the commercial.
No, that was
So that, I mean, that to me, like that, from what I'm reading right now with our current LDCs, that's a large number. Like almost as many as residential you're gonna need for commercial.
Right.
It's
Those
like,
we'll have to negotiate, because it depends on the use. So we
it's,
don't know.
it says for like a supermarket or like a store, you need one space for every 100 square feet, which, so you're talking about 14
24.
spaces for, each one of those retail units, which it would be great for a pharmacy if they want to move in there. I mean, just that, just off the top of my head.
I'm gonna throw something, I'm gonna agree with that.
And the other thing is our current LDC says that you cannot count spaces for other uses. So you can't do the daytime use, nighttime use. That's what we're putting into our new LDCs, but as of right now, it's not in there. So just to let you know that.
Well, the new ones are coming to you in a couple weeks.
Okay.
The first reading.
So it'll go, yeah, so I think that's what you've been looking at is what's proposed.
Yeah, so I mean, as of right now, so we would definitely, but this is, I'm assuming we're gonna make this a
We'll do a
PD.
PD, yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
But it still has to work.
Right, well, there's a reason we have those numbers.
I'm gonna throw something out, I know this is a little, Charles, don't kill me. Have you thought about, because this is something that we truly need here, we definitely need this. There's no question, we have a lot of our older community that really does not need the large house, it's a burden, but they still wanna be here in the community and there's nowhere for them to go. We know we need that. Elevator, number one, and having done these moves recently, and I'm not elderly, according to me. But at the end of it, I was, yes, because we were going third floor was a bear. And we had movers and I was running circles around the movers because they were having such a hard time. And I know that that's an issue, but you need to, really and truly, I would encourage you that an elevator is gonna be a huge selling point. Because after what I've gone through in the last couple of months, I probably would, if it didn't have an elevator, that's the first thing I've said to her as we go forward, doesn't have an elevator. But we have a need here for, hotel space. Have you considered, and I know this is a new concept that they're doing, is where you have one floor, you can have like a boutique hotel, that somebody that was wanting to run that, and then the floors above it would be your condo.
correct.
Have you looked in, I'm just looking at, what you're gonna have to do here, and for us too, because we know that that's a definite need. And with you asking us about the property and us working with you on that, that's definitely a need also. And I've seen it and I know that it can work if you can get, a hotel chain or somebody that wants to do that boutique hotel there, have smaller rooms, of course, the hotel rooms. I don't know, I just was wondering if that's something that you have considered here.
How much would you take away from the condominium piece to it to put the hotel in?
Well, there's oftentimes it's one floor. You could just do the one floor. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just throwing that out there as something that, if you had thought about it, if you've seen that happen, anybody doing that, I know they're doing it in Tampa. I know they've done it over in Gainesville. I know they've done it, over in different areas. They're starting to do that.
Correct. No, absolutely. So to answer your question, and as a matter of fact, like I said, I'm pushing 50 and I only live on the second floor and I was dying.
Yeah.
And Eric is a lot younger, but he was the one that said, hey, I want an elevator in there.
Yeah, you need it
You
now.
gotta understand these millennials, they don't want to walk up the stairs.
I know, it's a shame, even though they can, they don't want to.
Exactly.
They're just not tough, right?
I got swung by his ear every now and then. But yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll let Eric go into a little bit more depth about it, but some of the program, or some of the RFPs that we have been working on is the concept of a condotel.
Yeah.
Where we sell off the condo, it's not a timeshare, the person owns it outright, just one owner, and we have a management company that actually rents out the units as if it was a hotel. And actually Eric has some good partners on that aspect as well, so I'll let him go into a little bit in depth about that.
But and just to add to that, when I went to the FLC conference, or actually when Commissioner Banks and I went to FLC back in 2005, we stayed at the Trump Sonesta Towers in Sunny Isles. And they were condos, but they rented them as hotels, or hotel rooms. And I mean, it was beautiful and great. It was beautiful, it was on the beach and had $38 million worth of art in the lobby. But it was a very small place, but I mean, the rooms were great, they were huge. And I mean, we used to go to St. Augustine too, and there's, condos over there that you can rent for the week, or rent even for a few nights, so. I don't see why you couldn't just do that.
Well, we've established through a study that they did, that right now, we're not ready for a big hotel. We would have to do some sort of a boutique hotel. This might meet both, as I was just thinking, that this could meet that, so that a hotel could have limited space, but still be operating, and then you can also have the condo concept.
So, I can answer on this specifically. We have a partner, within the hotel space who is highly focused on boutique hotels and also chain hotels. So he currently has about 3,000 rooms under management. The company's called Stealth Management, run by Andrew Jane. So we worked on him on similar projects where we proposed condo hotels. Here specifically, I mean, it does sound interesting, right? But the problem that we're running into is the parking, right? So if we contemplate the hotel portion of it, I mean, we'll need to reanalyze the parking again, because now we're adding one more component to it. And also hotels, there's a lot of things are dictated by the hotel associations that we need to kind of abide by, right? So it may sound like easy, okay, we can put, 5 rooms or 6 rooms or 10 bedrooms, but at the end of the day, there's so many other things that we need to abide by, so we could look into it. But the simple fact that the parking right now is kind of a hurdle, I'm not sure how it's gonna work out now if we add hotel rooms.
Okay, I was just
Yeah.
asking if that's something that you had thought about, just because I know it's a need, and especially it's a need for downtown. And
I mean, we had the University of Florida put together a proposal for that piece of property, and it was a boutique hotel with like a meeting room and 2 retail downstairs and 2 apartments upstairs or something.
Okay.
I mean, to fit in that footprint. And it's just because we have one small motel in town, that's it. Oh, and the fish camp, we have a Crescent Fish Camp, which does have.
It's likely this will be a lot of Airbnbs.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, I think, moving forward, that you're gonna be selling condos that you can sell. And then ones that are right here, would be like a Airbnb. Yeah,
Or the owners could Airbnb them.
and there's a need for those, really.
My concern is too many short-term rentals. You have people just coming in and out, kind of tearing everything up, not really respecting the area. I mean, currently, the legislature has kind of made moves that we can't really limit Airbnbs, or we can't really affect them at all. But I mean, as a developer, you can put covenants in that would limit the amount of short-term rental available. But I mean, that might be something.
Well, hotels to me are short-time rentals.
Right.
And price dictates that too, the type of user that you have is price, right, dictate that.
So I wouldn't exclude in its totality there, the option of a hotel condo, but at this point, I'm not sure the feasibility would work.
I was just, had to ask.
Yeah.
I had to ask.
So Mayor, for us as a commission, it seems to me that, this is interesting concept. I think we've all asked some questions. It sounds like the concept is still a little bit in development. But particularly if a component of the financing, of the financial package is going to be a gift of the property from us or lease or whatever, I would think as a commission and with our city manager, we would need to have, whatever financials, references. To me, we would need to have a complete package of the financial details and the financial stability, potentially the background check. I don't know all kinds of things you asked for, but it would seem to me that we would need to figure out, even if we think this is a feasible project, if we want to give that land in any way, shape, or form, what would be the questions and the assurances and the structure? And we don't have a city attorney present right now. That's actually a question that I had. I don't have any contact information, but obviously I would think we would need our city attorney to look at this. And then, Charles, one question I have for you, or maybe BJ knows this. Do we have an actual valuation for the property? Has the property ever been listed by a commercial realtor on the open market?
So we measure the price.
I can get an appraisal done. I have notified, unfortunately, Don Holmes, he's gonna be our attorney, and he was not made aware of the workshop, so he's not available. But I apprised him of the meeting, and we're gonna meet afterwards to talk about it. I think,
How is that structured? Like when a CRA gives land or something, I mean,
well, I think this property is actually owned by the city. It was purchased with city general fund dollars.
yeah, for $100,000.
So, which is a little more restrictive than if the CRA owned it, but since we have an RFP out, I think we've made that available. That's the main thing, is you have to make it available. Anybody else has any offers? We've had it out there for years. I think the next step, will be to just hammer out the development agreement, which will answer a lot of questions. I think they can provide that backup information, as you mentioned, to make you feel more comfortable about the gift. And then I'll work with our planner and Don and our attorney. The PD is gonna be the key. You guys will have to agree to those. That's where we talk about parking and stormwater and height and density, all those things. We may require some comprehensive plan amendments and so forth. So it's important for us to start working on that. That'll help them on number of units. We've run into roadblocks with parking and so forth. It'll help them nail down the specifics of their proposal. It'll be a process for you to figure out where you guys, at the end of the day, so we can't.
The question today is really, are we interested in doing something like this?
Absolutely.
I think that's, their proposal to us, are we interested in it? Is it
I
something that?
mean, should we kind of move ahead and go through what you're,
That's what we're looking for, is a
Yeah.
consensus. If you want to see the proposal, more detailed development agreement.
yes.
Well, to me, before we see a detailed development agreement, I think two things are key. One are the references and the financials, particularly what is the financial stability, like a list of your current projects. How are they doing financially? Your company as a whole financially. And also, I'm a little bit concerned, commissioners, it's a great concept, but Mr. Rangel said that he doesn't right now have a target market. I mean, the market research, you've done some market research, but you're not totally sure who the target market is. I think that's important for us to know, because that really tells us, is it feasible? I mean, particularly if we're going to give land, is it feasible, and is it the right thing does it properly complement in terms of density, parking, all that? I mean, obviously it's a lovely project, but is the configuration going to complement downtown the way we want? We want it to help downtown, not create more problems that we have to solve. But the main thing is, to me, is it going to be successful? And I think, to me, the market research is key to that. Who are you? Who are you marketing to? What is the price point? What are the amenities? And I do have some other ideas to share with you. They might just be pie in the sky. But those, for what is proposed to us, I think financials and truly the market, those things I think we would want to know.
Charles, can we structure the gifting as if the project never gets started, we get the plane back?
Although it has to,
I mean,
yes.
Well, here, and that's what I wanted to touch on. The other projects that I've worked on is contingent on following every single step of the way, everything that's in the PD. If I misstep somewhere, granted, it's not like, okay, I'm gonna take it right away. It's just like, okay, you need to fix it or else. There's also a time period. A lot of it dictates that too. So I can't just sit here, get the land and just sit on it for 3 years. And you guys are like, what's going on?
And even if you get started with construction, you run out of money and it doesn't.
Milestones have to be met, obviously.
That's what I was wondering.
Right, yeah, there's certain
That's why I didn't
milestones
hear
you
that.
guys will put in.
Milestones need to have to be met.
So,
Don's job will be to protect the city.
yeah. So you're the developer.
Yes,
You're gonna be the developer. And then concept design is gonna be the contractor, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What projects have I would like a list also of what they've worked on, that are similar in nature to this.
correct.
You said they're out of Orlando, are they the ones that are working on your Kissimmee project? Or is it somebody else?
Yeah, I have somebody else that's working on the Kissimmee project, and the IAG investment company
Okay.
is partnered with me on another project in Kissimmee as well. But Charles and I have already talked about this, so I told him, once we get through this, I'll make sure I give you a list of those projects, the names.
And you'll have the agreement too, and I think that's something that as Dawn goes forward, he'll want to see that agreement that you have also with concept designs. If we're gonna be that invested in this project. I mean, but we as a commission also have to look at, the return on our investment too. So here we're looking at $6 million valuation.
It's a big deal.
It could be significant for us too. So, do we have any other questions? Yes, Commissioner.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize, I think as a commission, we should be seeing all this in writing. The financials, the financial stability of your projects, where they all are, a complete bio for you and your associates and, as the mayor said, the contractor. I think we need to have a package like this package and.
And I'm sure Don's gonna
So we have that in the
protect
proposal.
us in that regard and make sure he has all that and understand that we're not being difficult. I know you've been dealing also with other, especially if you've been dealing with Osceola County and Kissimmee. It's just, we have this that we have to take care of. We have that fiduciary responsibility to our citizens and so.
Correct, no, absolutely, and I totally agree with it. I mean, obviously, it's a little bit easier in Kissimmee because I used to represent the area in the Florida House, so it's easier
So you
for me to get around. People understood who I was and things like that. I'm just coming into your backyard and you're just getting to know me today, so by all means, it's no skin off me, so I'm okay with that.
I think getting all 5 of us to be enthusiastic about something is a hard sell, so. So far, you've done well. If you.
I appreciate it.
balconies, elevator, balcony and
Yeah,
elevator.
I mean, it's just, if you look at the market, if you're gonna have any senior citizens or anybody, or someone in a wheelchair living anywhere in that building,
Yeah,
gotta need an elevator. Or 2, I mean,
Definitely.
yeah.
it's, I know that's,
have to be ADA compliant.
well, it's not over 3 stories, so you don't have.
You don't have to put an elevator in. Yeah. It's-
But I would like to at least visit somebody if they haven't. So you need to have an elevator.
Well, and I would love to be able to have a drink with you on the rooftop too.
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure the elevator's-
And I don't drink alcohol, so it'll be a soda.
I want to go to some.
Okay.
Okay, is there anything else that you
I
can,
think that's it.
well, thank you.
All right, so
Commissioners,
much.
are you done? Has everybody got their questions and?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, well, I appreciate all you guys' time as well, and
Thank you.
look forward to sticking around and getting something like this done.
And thank you for having a vision for Crescent City.
Yeah, glad you like the
You know,
place.
we love this place, and so thank you for acknowledging that and wanting to invest here.
Absolutely.
And, the Catfish Festival is really good at selling people on the area, and so
Definitely.
Yeah, it's not like that every weekend.
Yeah.
Just want you to know that, but it's not like that every weekend.
We put a lot of work into that.
We're trying, but it's not like that every weekend.
We'll get there, we'll get there.
Well, you guys are lucky because we haven't had one for 4 years. This is the pandemic kind of knocked it out.
Yeah.
Yes, the last 3 years, so you were lucky you got them when it, came back.
Mayor,
Yes,
just to clarify where we are, with our meetings, is our next meeting scheduled for July 29th?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a workshop, yes, general fund and CRA budgets.
so we have July 29th. Let's just go ahead while we're doing this, so we've got, so
She wasn't.
July 29th. And then we don't have one the 30th or 31st, correct?
We have a new attorney, that's the senior partner.
Okay, because we need to schedule some kind of parks discussion, or are we gonna talk
We
about that?
said we would probably do that. Incorporate that into our workshop.
Mayor, we're not adjourned, are we?
Not yet.
Okay, because we're having our separate,
Yeah,
maybe we should adjourn.
Creating a frame.
I move we adjourn.
So it's a workshop.
That's a workshop.
So
We
let's
voted.
adjourn.
Okay, I adjourned the workshop.
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, they're open, and then,
So it's